People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, Sam Greenwood, I think he's going to have a future at Arsenal. Now, it's down to him to develop, it's down to him to work. I'm not personally here to hype the players and hype people. I think he's got a lot of potential and he shows it continuously at England's youth sides. Whenever he goes away, he's scoring a lovely free kick or so. He's shown it at Sunderland and he's shown it at Arsenal. He's shown why United wanted to bring him, and ironically, he could have been playing with his namesake Mason Greenwood. I don't like a lot of hype, and to be honest, since I've started attending the under-18s and 23 games and stuff on a more regular basis, even a lot of people I follow on Twitter and stuff, they make certain comments, and because I'm there actually watching them week in, week out, they don't necessarily feel accurate. Like a comment I continuously see is, why is Greenwood continuously playing at under-18s and not 23s? I believe he has the ability to kick up in the under-23s. But if you're watching both levels this season, you can see why he's still currently at under-18s level. It's nothing to do with him because he's got 10 goals and around 4 or 5 assists this season. But there's other players that are really playing out of their skin. And to be honest, Greenwood kind of needs to develop a bit more before he can stake a regular claim for the under-23s. He's only a first-year scholar, 16 years of age. He's still developing as a man, let alone a footballer. Apologies for it cutting out, people. But like I said, Greenwood is still developing as a man, let alone a footballer. I think next season you'll see the best of him in the under-23s. I think he'll eventually, like Balogun, make the step up to starting on a regular basis at under-23s level and away from Balogun, because I don't think Balogun's eligible. John Jules, Coyle, Vontae Daly-Campbell won't be here, and Michi. I think technically Saka can play FA Youth Cup, but if Saka doesn't, such as his development, you're looking at Greenwood, Alfie Matthews and a couple of other players to kind of be the senior players as second-year scholars to the young boys to come up being first-year scholars in regards to the FA Youth Cup. So next season, I think I'm going to see another big season at FA Youth level and obviously at under-23s level, because I think Greenwood will kick on eventually, but it will start at under-18s. Now, I think Greenwood, his future brings a lot of debate, because I think he's going to have a future here. He came here as a striker, and many people will see him in the pecking order for that, and possibly that's a big reason as to why he hasn't had a look in at 23s level. For the last few weeks or so, he's been playing right wing, and he can do all right there. He can play as a 10, which I think we can't rule out him being long-term a 10, you know, and he can play on the left. Playing on the right, he probably not where he excels the best. If you was to ask him, I'd love to hear what he says, but he can do it. He's relatively quick. He can take people on. The man is both-footed. He can strike a ball clean with his left or right foot. His link-up play is there. He's got an eye for goal, and I think he's got that bravado. He wants to take the penalties, the free kicks, take people on. He's very much a technically based, cultured sort of player, man. I've got a lot of time for Greenwood. I really like Greenwood. I think he's got a chance. He's 16. Capable of moments of magic. The one thing I'd probably say he needs to bring into his game, and probably needs to come into his game before he kicks on at 23's level, in that he's got that thing in that good players, they'll be out of a game for 85 minutes or so, and then bang, they'll score. Sometimes that's not always the case. Like Greenwood, I see him scoring sometimes and doing well, but at times I wouldn't say he's out of the game, but he's on the peripheral things. You want to get out of him a bit more. You want to see him drop deep a bit more. At times I do think he plays within himself, and you don't always notice him on the football field. There have been games where he's been playing all right, but I actually haven't clocked that he's on the field until the 45th minute or until he actually scores. Admittedly, a lot of them have come through the wide positions, but he does his thing. You've seen him against Spurs, you've seen him against Chelsea, you've seen him in general. Like, I think he's got a lot of potential, people. I really do. He's 16, so he's going to be 17 next year or later on this year. The next step for him is, which will probably be guaranteed, is his pro deal, step up into the under-23s and be a senior player for the under-18s. But by the time he's 18, possibly 19, I'd be surprised if he doesn't have a start for this club. Like I said, why it's interesting is where he'll end up long term. Something's telling me in my head he'll be a 10. He's born to score goals, so he can play up front, but there's a lot of people in the pecking order, and he can play on either flank, and he can excel at doing all of them, people. He doesn't struggle. He really doesn't. In fact, he's 17 now, people. Just turned 17 in January, so he signed his pro deal. But at under 18s level, like I said, 10 goals in 20 appearances and 4 assists. That's a contribution of 14 goals in 20 games. That's ridiculously good. That is ridiculous. And this is how you know he's got potential, because this is me, I'm seeing these stats and I'm saying there's certain things that you could see a bit more from him. Again, I'm not his coach and things, and my opinion don't matter, but I just feel if he can add that to his game, and that he's always in the game, like he's always dropping deep, he's always involved in certain things, he's less on the peripheral things, he'll step up. That's the only thing about him, because he's got it all. Dribbling, link up play, plays with his head up, bravado, he's got it all. The only issues now would just be how he takes on information tactically. Because if he's going to step up as a professional footballer at Arsenal, we're at top level, it's how you take on tactics. You're hearing all the stuff about Sane not playing for City. Allegedly, a big reason is to that is because the coaching staff have concerns in regards to how he receives tactics. So when you lot see papers being given to substitutions, it's not all just make believe. How you interpret that. Do you see what I'm saying? You look at Thierry Henry against when he played for Barcelona. He said he came on the pitch, or either he came or he played or he started or something. But he scored 2 goals, and Pep Guardiola took him off because it not doing what he's tactically asked him. This is why a lot of footballers don't get anywhere. He's Greenwood and a lot of these guys, they're at that level, or they're gonna get to that level where obviously they need a chance and they're still developing. But a big part as to why they won't get chances will be how good are they at receiving information. And they're all things to do. They're all relative things with his age, so it's not even a thing for him. The one thing I would say is just be in the game. I don't know any other way to make it make sense. He is always in the game, but just less on the peripheral at times, people. Just always grasping the game by the balls sort of thing, people. If once he gets that, which he will, because he's only 17, the world's his oyster, man. And by the time he's 18, 19, I'd be surprised if he's not training with the first team, travelling in some capacity, whether friendlies or not. I really think we have a player for the future in this guy, man. Like, possibly, do you know what? I think he's one of the best set-piece takers at the club, man. I really do, man. At times I see him strike with his left and his right. I'm like, listen, are you possessed? How can someone be so good? Did you sell your soul to the devil or something? Because he's sick, people. He's sick, man. I mean, one of the best. He has to be one of the best set-piece takers collectively at the club, and he has to be one of the most two-footed players at this club. I ain't seen someone as two-footed at Arsenal since Santi Cazorla. I know I'm giving him big praise, and I'm not here to say he's going to be next, this, that, and the other. I could be wrong. I believe in him. I think he's got a lot of potential. It's just down to him to work. It's down to him to listen to the managers. Obviously, we hope he doesn't get any injuries or any sort of illness or anything that could disrupt his development, because he's at crucial years. He's taken a big step to come into Arsenal versus Sunderland. Big fish in a small pond relatively at Sunderland. He probably would have got appearances very soon, but he's come to Arsenal where it's more competitive, where it's clearly better facilities and coaching staff and things like that. Even if he doesn't make it, the education he would have got here would make him a better player. And that's why I get why a lot of young players go to Chelsea. People see it as, oh, you're not going to get first team chances, and a lot of that's true. But what if you're a switched on young player and you know, boom, Chelsea are not going to give me chances, but the development, the coaching staff, the competitive, in-house competitive nature between the squads and competing for a place to start week in, week out, they could all accelerate my development. So if I go here, learn what I can, and when the time comes, bust out, I'll be a different sort of player. You've got to be cerebral, people. People really have to consider that no two careers are the same, and every player is different. And sometimes it doesn't always look like what they're doing is the right thing, but it is. And sometimes it's the wrong thing. Football is a funny old game. Nobody's right. It always corrects you, even if you think you're ever going to be right. But this is just some of my thoughts, people. Like I said, apologies for the video cutting out. No clue why it did that. But yeah, people, if you've got anything to say, I'm out. Deluded.